bitch still don't know, nigga, we all get a turn. You be all in your feelings about it like when I see him. I'ma kill this nigga, I'm on three-way like you hear this nigga. I should take the bitch back and clip the nigga. Pussy make him not pay.
This is our new Audi RS3.
Fans, bitch, these hoes love me. I fuck a bad bitch that she ugly. Put the pussy in recovery. I'm like, now what you think of me? Niggas going out.
It's an Audi RS3 with a DXHA engine. Now, the DXHA engine is the same engine that's used in the RS3s in the USA. The difference between that engine and the ones being used in EU and UK is it's got different camshafts, it's got different injectors, and it doesn't have OPF filters like the European and the UK cars do. We will be using this to do stage 1, stage 2, stage 3 development for the US market. So this is something that we couldn't do in the UK because it was not possible to get access to a DXHA engine. We've not actually covered a lot of the RS38Y on our channel, mostly because I was building this facility for the past year, but we are now able to unlock and tune these cars and flash them wirelessly through your phone. So we have an iPhone app, an Android app, and a laptop application, which allows you to switch between stock, stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, and data log the car as well. The ECU does need to be sent to us to be unlocked, but it's a one-time bench operation, and once that's been carried out, all future flashes are through your phone. We don't have a gearbox solution for these cars at the moment, so they are still on stock TCU calibration. So we have reworked the code in the engine control unit for it to work with the stock ECU so that it doesn't cut power. We're going to spend the next 6 months or so doing all the development on this platform, and I'll take you through it, you know, from start to finish. This is a completely stock car. We'll be starting off with our stage 1. I'll show you guys how we unlock the ECU, flash the tune, use the application, and we'll also be doing the hardware upgrade. So we'll go from stage 1 to stage 1 plus, to stage 2 to stage 2 plus, and then to eventually to stage 3 and stage 3 plus. Our limitation at the moment on this car is the gearbox. So after we reach around 700 horsepower, the clutches do start slipping, but we've got a long way to go until we hit 700 horsepower. But yeah, really looking forward to showing you guys this and the procedure. Obviously, we started off Infinit Performance tuning RS3s, and I'm glad to say it's not a platform that we've given up on, and we will keep pushing the envelope on what we can do with them. Okay, we have my engine ready to go back into the car. A lot of things on this engine now. We have the Zona XR 5757S turbos, GTR coils, upgraded head studs, Senna cams, DLC rockers, Dodson clutch, wave track diff. I've also bumped up the compression ratio on this engine. So McLaren's on a compression ratio of 8.7 to 1, which is great for pump fuel applications. So if you're running pump fuel, you want your compression ratio to be nice and low. That's why they make really good power on pump fuel. But if you're making power on race fuels, which obviously when we were competing we use race fuel, you want your compression ratio to be higher, because a higher compression ratio on race fuel usually gives you more power. So we've bumped the compression ratio up on this engine to 9.3 opposed to the factory 8.7. What other upgrades have I got? I've got 1300cc injectors, Turbo Smart dump valves, we've got our upgraded alternator, we've got upgraded main bolts, we've got our connecting rods in there, of course, clutch breather, of course. What else is the car? What else am I missing? I forgot, there's so many things on this engine now. We switched to these turbos because they're a little bit more efficient than what we were using before. So I hope it plays well on the dyno. Regardless, even if we don't hit 1400, and if we're still making 1300, it will be making it more efficiently than before, which means when going down the half mile, they'll be knocking less. The engines will be knocking less. So really looking forward to seeing what this puts out.
We don't talk on no pillows, nigga. We brought all these bitches with us. You act like you got all the hoes, but all I see is niggas with you. She don't like when you pulling on her. She like me, I'm pulling up. I act like I don't want her. You act like you can't get enough. That bitch that like dope boys. If you got money, she going for it. I drink that hoe, her head so good, she gon' have you there like, oh Lord. All this time you ain't knowing that I'm playing, she lame for that. She ain't have to put a nigga name in that. Beefing over these bitches, not me, nah, nigga, I ain't came for that. We don't talk on no pillows, nigga. We brought all these bitches with us. You act like you got all the hoes, but all I...
We have the 2025 G-Wagon put back together now. As you've seen previously, we split the chassis from the drivetrain to get these downpipes out. We've sent these away to get a V-band put in the middle, so now we won't need to do that in the future. And because of the ECU not being unlocked, we've got secondary cat deletes with primary cats. So this will be a seamless plug and play, but it'll sound a lot better with the secondary cat deletes. So after the primary cat, there's the secondary lambda, and after that there's nothing, so it's unmonitored, so you can get rid of them and no issues at all. Once we have the ECU unlocked as well, we'll put our own complete fully decat downpipe system, and that will sound even better.
Mask on 30 piece. Fuck that, nigga certainly catch a body broad day, shoot him in the hallway.
On the G, we now have the downpipes back in, and we split the original downpipes in half in the middle, and we V-banded them, so they were easy to take out, put back in. It means we don't need to split the chassis again if we want to remove them. We also removed the secondary cats on the downpipe, so it does sound better. It doesn't sound great, but it does sound a lot better than what it was before. It's unlocked the sound of the engine, of what it should actually sound like. Next steps for this are, we are working with someone at the moment for ECU tuning. They reckon they can unlock the ECU for us. Once it's unlocked, we can get to work on creating a calibration for it. But for now, it's buttoned up. We have our downpipes coming. We have a tuning solution coming for this, and it sounds better. So it's a win-win for now, but we will be doing a little bit more to this as time goes on. So car is obviously still factory bone stock, still on its stock cats, still on the stock intercooler, stock intake. We've made the base cal for the 98 octane tune already. Now we're starting with the, yeah, you need to leave a little air bubble there. Now we're starting with the ethanol tuning. So we're gonna make the ethanol tune, E85 tune, for stock hardware. So everything completely stock. Flash the tune, you flash through your phone. We'll show you that shortly as well. Whilst Kamal is filling the car up with some E85 goodness, I'm going to quickly show you guys how we flash these cars now. Everything changed. No more laptops, no more messing around. Just nice and simple. We have these. These are our flashing dongles. They have a USB, micro USB port at the bottom and OBD port on the other side. These connect to your phone wirelessly through Bluetooth. There is a Wi-Fi chip on them for future purposes. We haven't enabled that at the moment. So at the moment it's Bluetooth to your iPhone or your Android. Or if you don't have an iPhone or Android, I don't know who wouldn't, you can connect to your laptop using the micro USB. So you plug it in and you open the application GT Flasher. Now, before being able to do this, it does require a one-time bench unlock, so you will need to mail us your ECU one time for us to put our code onto the ECU, so it can be flashed wirelessly moving forward. Open up the app, connect to the Bluetooth dongle. The gearboxes can't be tuned on this car at the moment, but we are working on it. Hit engine, identify vehicle, head to the flashing screen. And on the flashing screen, you'll see all of your tunes. So these are the tunes we're working on at the moment. You can go back to the original file, which is the stock calibration. You can switch between stage 198, stage 298, stage 185. Depending on your setup, you'll have various different options here enabled on your account. So obviously we're testing E85 now. We'll hit the stage 185. And then it comes up with a couple of prompts for the pre-flash checks. Keep hood open, keep ignition on. Don't unplug the OBD dongle or disable Bluetooth. Don't take the phone out of the car. Don't close the app. And if you receive a call, don't answer it, because you want to allow the flash to complete successfully. We've tested this thoroughly. We've been testing it over the past 2 years, not only on this ECU, but on other ECUs as well, because this does cover all of the MED17 family, all of the CMOS 18 family as well, and now the MG1. So it will never brick an ECU because we only flash the calibration segment. This is why when you send us the ECU, we do a bench unlock on it. That takes care of the other blocks on the ECU that are not the calibration. So even if it was hypothetically to fail, it would not break the ECU. So you'll never be in a position where you're stuck with a dead car. You know, if the flash fails, you simply reattempt it. If you obviously answer the phone call, or say your battery dies on your phone, but it won't. We have a lot of safety checks in place, so if your phone's under 20%, it won't allow you to flash. Then you just hit start flashing, and yeah, I'll just pop the phone in the car as the app requests, and we just let it go through the process. Our current flashes, if it's a full flash, it takes 4 minutes. If it's just a calibration change, it takes 1 minute 30 seconds. So pretty swift, pretty good, nice and easy. We're working on flex fuel for these as well. It will be coming very soon with our own ethanol content sensor that will link to the dongle wirelessly. So you won't need to run cables back to the dongle inside the car. It will just be an ethanol content sensor that plugs into the car in the engine bay. But yeah, going to wait for this to complete and get some data logs. Using this application, you can also data log the car, which is great. If you ever want to see how your car's performing, you can save the data log, you can view it online on your own user account on an interactive interface. So it's great, you know, it gives you an eye on your car as well to see how it's performing, and allows you to learn a little bit more about what's going on. We're completely transparent with all the stuff we do, and we welcome you to check out the data logs to ensure that the car is running sweet. We've now completed our stage 1 calibration on this. We were out last night doing some road pulls, making sure everything is sweet, doing some half-mile testing to ensure that under load and under a lot of heat, it's sweet, it's not knocking, the fueling's good. So our stage 1 98 calibration is done. We're now starting off with our ethanol calibration. So we dropped some ethanol in there last night, and now we're going to begin the process of making the E85 calibration for this car. It's completely stock, so no injectors, no fuel pump upgrades, nothing, just a case of flash the E85 file and put E85 into the tank. That's a nice little 100 wheel horsepower bump in power with ethanol. So what we'll do is, once we finalize the calibration, unfortunately I cannot dyno this on my main line because I only have a rear wheel drive main line or a two wheel drive main line. So we will, once we finalize the calibrations on this a little bit more, we'll take it down to a DynoJet dyno, 4-wheel drive, and we'll dyno it there to see what it's putting out on 98, what it's putting out on the ethanol tune, and from there we'll start with the hardware upgrades, the intercoolers, the downpipes, the intakes. So yeah, we're taking it step by step with this because we want to make sure that everything's perfect. We have been working on this platform for 8 years now. It's nothing new to us, but the R&D still needs to be done. You still need to start from scratch and yeah, make sure everything's perfect. There's not too much different on these from the EU spec cars. The EU spec has the OPF and it's got different camshafts, different DI injectors, but otherwise more or less the same. The US spec cars do make a little bit of power because that camshaft on the exhaust side does flow a little bit more. So yeah, stay tuned. We'll keep you updated with this. we've had Joel's McLaren 720S come through. It was initially in for a health check and the suspension warning fault. Joel was looking for a good shop in Dubai to maintain and look after his McLaren. It's already tuned. We put it on the dyno. It made 760 wheel horsepower. He's not quite sure who tuned it, so he is looking for us to retune it. So we'll be retuning it. It's got some sports cats on it. We'll be removing the sports cats, putting some downpipes onto it, decats. And other than that, we've identified the suspension failure warning on the dash. So this is a very known fault on the McLarens, but nobody actually knows how to diagnose them correctly. This is a McLaren accumulator. You've got one of these on top of each suspension strut on the car, so 4 of these on total. Now, inside the accumulator, you've got a rubber diaphragm with pressure behind it. Now, when the hydraulic pump on the car changes the pressure of the oil inside the hydraulic system, it changes the drive stiffness. So these little bulbs are responsible for the drive stiffness of the car. So when you switch between comfort, sport and track, the drive stiffness of the car changes. Now, these unfortunately were not a great design by McLaren when they released the car back in 2018. So pretty much every McLaren 720 from 2018 has got torn diaphragms in these accumulators. Now, to check these, it's a case of if you've got suspension warnings on the cluster, okay, it might be the accumulators, but to get a concrete understanding of what's going on, pop the accumulator off. Basically, if you just get a screwdriver and drop it in there, you can see this one goes all the way down to the bottom, all right? That basically indicates to us that it's a torn diaphragm. However, if I was to get a good accumulator here, so I have a good 720S accumulator here. So this is the bad accumulator. These are 2 bad accumulators here. You can see if I pop a screwdriver inside, it goes all the way down to the bottom. And the same with this one, goes all the way down to the bottom. Now this one here, it's a good accumulator. If I pop this in, you can see it stops, right? That basically tells me that the diaphragm inside there that's got the air pressure behind it, it's a gas that's behind it, to be precise. It means that it's good, it's not torn. So what you'll find is if you've got damaged accumulators in 720S, if you crack it open and drop a screwdriver in, it shouldn't go all the way down to the bottom, you know, it should just go around an inch in. So this is how you can diagnose which accumulator is defective on your McLaren and replace it accordingly. Unfortunately with these, even if you replace them, they've got a lifespan of around 3 to 4 years. So this design of accumulator will fail after 3 or 4 years. It's just not a great design. And the cars that seem to sit still over the years and don't get driven, they tend to get it a lot worse and they fail faster. This is a McLaren 765 accumulator. Now, these accumulators are an upgrade for McLaren 720S. Now, to date, we've not had any failures on the 765 style of accumulator. However, this might not be a good solution for everyone, because when you change to these accumulators, you also need to update the software on the chassis control unit. That can be done via a McLaren diagnostic system. So to swap to these accumulators, it's just a case of dropping these accumulators in, and you also need to change 2 bolts. So we will be changing the accumulators on this car. We're also doing an health check. We found a couple of leaks that we will be addressing. McLarens are known for leaks, but I think this car's been worked on elsewhere at some point. So we'll be making the car 100%. We'll be retuning it. We'll be putting our tune on it. So yeah, you should be seeing this car around Dubai at events, and check them out on Instagram. Joel brought this through, but I believe it's his wife's car, Queen of Supercars. So yeah, you can keep up to date with this car on their feed.
Shorty playing, she late for that, she happy.